it doesn't matter. It's called The Way of the Grackle. It's 13 short sections. It's sort of like 13 ways of looking at a blackbird, but I'm using a grackle. And I spread it out so that there's one on each page rather than putting them all together, so that if you get a chance to focus on each one, okay? The Well Review, The Way of the Grackle by Jimmy Pappas. 1. Two black Russians walk into a bar. They order 2 grackles. 2. A grackle in a snowstorm. Salted licorice. 3. The fat men of Saddam imagine silver birds. The grackles steal their women. 4. A grackle flies into the picture window. Splat. 5. A man, a woman, and a grackle rent a motel room. The grackle brings a camera. 6. A priest, a rabbi, a mullah, an atheist, and a grackle are on an airplane about to crash. The atheist screams louder than the rest. The rabbi says he expected it. The priest blames himself. The mullah blames the grackle. The grackle parachutes out the back exit. 7. I don't know which grackle I like more, the one who pays for the tab or the one who builds it up. 8. How many grackles does it take to change a light bulb? 2. The first grackle changes the bulb. The second grackle adjusts the meter. And I got this too also with a poet. How many poets does it take to write a poem? And the second one is always adjusting the meter. 9. Iridescent blue, purple, bronze of oil in the parking lot puddle. The wing of a grackle. 10. The boxer has the eye of the tiger. The manager has the eye of the grackle. 11. 2 grackles fly concentric circles. Which bird implies more, the outer grackle or the inner one? 12. A plague of grackles gathers around a park bench. They feed an old man. And this is the actual word. A group of grackles is called a plague. And I always wonder if people know that when I use that there. And I always think of them, you know, the birds. I see these people at a bench feeding the birds, and they're so happy, like the birds are feeding them. And the final one. How many grackles must live in a poet's belfry before madness sets in? And that was it. So I try to do all these different ones. I had fun doing that. It's kind of a favorite poem of mine. I have no idea how other people react to it, but I really like it a lot. Next one would be totally different. Each one is a little different.
Those are great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This was published at Penman Review, and this is a bit about suicide. Also, I have 2 poems that do deal with suicide. The things we owe each other. Everyone owed me a call. That's what she wrote, her farewell note of sorts, posted on a sticky pad, attached to a box of Christmas presents she never mailed out. That's how it all works, isn't it? We owe each other things. Sunday dinners. The book we borrowed long ago and kept holding on to, always certain we would read it. Attention. Money. Get-togethers. Reunions, reminders of how much we loved each other, anniversary celebrations, social hours on a back porch reminiscing about the days we thought we'd live forever, the phone call we kept putting off in the hope that someday, maybe someday soon, we might actually make it. My third poem. This was published at 1. So like 2 separate stories go on here. Auditory hallucinations in solitary confinement. A wild turkey pecked at the eyes of its image on the side of a newly polished car door. His favorite cooking utensil was a pancake shaper. The bard Phemius plucked on his lyre and sang about the return of the Achaeans. I made heart-shaped pancakes for him on an iron pan. In a Palestinian zoo, the donkey painted with black and white stripes brayed like a zebra. I told him if I kept it up, we could see a heart on fire. The red fox's ear turned before the poison arrow of Philoctetes struck the animal's heart. I told him sometimes we need to express love in symbols. A prothonotary warbler sang on the broken branch of a cypress tree in a northern Louisiana bayou. Everyone laughed when I called the mango pancake Rhode Island. When the Bulgarian army entered the city of Komotini, the Muslim woman banged tin and copper pots and pans. But he never laughed and cried, "No, no, no, don't mess it up." The woman, tied to her chair in the nursing home, called me over and asked if I had come to take her away. So you see, the italics is a separate story. This part here are all sounds until this real incident that occurred with me. A woman tied to her chair, and she calls me over, and then she wouldn't let me leave. She started panicking every time I started to walk away, and I'm sorry. I have to go. I can't help you. I'm not here to take you away. Sorry. It was a horrible moment to witness. And then there's another story, like a private story, mixed in with it. And I believe this is no, it's two more. This one is published in The Healing Muse. It's also in Falling Off the Empire State Building, which is my chapbook that won the Chapbook Poetry Prize for Rattle. The Lover of Mysteries. I knew you'd be awake, so I got to the hospital early and read to you from a mystery book that you had not yet started. Yet I, not even a blood relative, was the only visitor there, making me feel the need to lie by making excuses for your children who had not shown up yet, each one of them shouting to me, "What's the rush?" I explained to them that you were dying. It was our duty to help each other at such times, that I was determined to read as much of this final mystery book for you, the lover of mysteries, as possible in your final days of life. And I kept on with my duty, even after I realized you were not always aware of what I was reading, but you knew it was the last mystery of your life. Later, your favorite son arrived, the rich one, the successful one. His booming voice echoed down the corridor, so that I expected indentured servants to be following him in, fanning him with peacock feathers, sweeping the dirt before him, as he brought in a huge bouquet of flowers in a fancy vase, total cost easily over $100, that could not even fit on the table by your bed. He stayed for 15 minutes, just enough time to urge you to take care of yourself and eat your veggies and promise, "We'll get together as soon as you're out of here," and roar at the nurses, "Look out for my dad," as he left the hospital. In the ensuing silence, you looked out the door with such pride, I expected you to shout out, "That's my boy." Instead, you stared in utter joy, while I picked up the book again and read to you from the mystery of which you would never know the ending. The whole idea of that mystery and the ending and all, and he's dying, so that great mystery of life sort of tied together there. And that is a real story. Final one. This is to John Berryman. It's modeled on John Berryman's poetry, and he killed himself. He did commit suicide by jumping off a bridge. Henry's Last Dream Song, in honor of John Berryman. Suicides always try to cheat death by dying. Sylvia chose a warm oven, despite the different buzz in her ear, the tingling sensation of life's breath trying to reach the dulled mind. Everyone followed in rapid succession. leaving poor Henry at the end of the race, wondering if his turn would ever come, and shouting, "Wait for me!" So Henry, hot shit, him no fool, him leave his inner resources all over the place for the cops to pick up. And what I want to know is, what went on in Henry's mind as he fell like a man in an unstoppable dream, clutches blankets, struggling hard to yell? Tell me, Mr. Bones, was he surprised by the loudness of his scream? And so I always imagine, they say there's a great documentary of the bridge, people who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and the ones that survived, every one of them regretted it. As they were falling down, they always regretted that they were jumping. No one said, geez, I wish I died. They all regretted the whole jump idea. That's it. Thank you.
All right, so this first poem is in this book, Marilyn Bard's Poetry Review, and it's the first time I've published here. It's called Sugar. Sugar on the floor, her worst nightmare, the grip and grind of it, grains that hid in corners for days, fused into glue, dissolved into dirt, high on her list of what must be scrubbed. But oh, her cookies, brown sugar and butter whipped into air, vanilla and a pinch of salt baked at 350 till the edges hinted at brown. Burnt fingers and tongues as we lifted them off the wax paper, faint imprint of sweet left behind. In a house with few hugs, sugar was Scandinavian snowballs at Christmas, her pink frosted heart-shaped birthday cake, blueberry pie and lemonade. Sugar was love. I never used to write poems about family, and in the last few years, they've just been insisting they want to be written about. And my grandmother in particular, who was quite a character, has really been in the picture. So this particular poem is called "Oh, Grandmother." Oh, grandmother of the Victorian hips and suckling breast, of the memory of golden hair down to your waist. Grandmother, you smelled the peaches my sister ate to cover her smoker's breath. Why don't you visit us, Gertrude, if I may call you by your first name? Refresh our knowledge of the 48 states, invite Milton and Gustave Doré to join us for afternoon tea. Oh, grandmother of large blue orbs, of full-blown migraine and ankle-high lace-up boots, it's time for the new generation to learn a thing or two. Why don't you visit us, Gertrude? Press our small thumbs into the crystal compote as if we were making the pattern there. Sit by the fire and spin the globe. Spin us Stanley and Livingstone, the darkness of Conrad's heart. Oh, grandmother, forget your fearful disappearance and come to us. Sit down at the table with your Haviland china and Bohemian crystal. Mourn with us the broken gravy boat and fluted serving dish. Why don't you visit us, Gertrude? Pass your hand over the burled walnut of the washstand, pull the knobs and peek inside, admire its Carrara marble top. Bring with you the oval of beveled glass that inhabited your front door. Bring with you the yellow bricks of your house. Build us the road to Oz. Okay, this next poem is called Incredicoaster, and that happens to be a roller coaster at Disneyland. And everybody out on the West Coast is going to know what PG&E is. I don't know about East Coast, but that's Pacific Gas and Electric. Incredicoaster. Won't you ride the roller coaster with me? Here come the paparazzi swarming you. because you set a heap of hearts on fire, California fires, and no water to put them out. See how PG&E, a matter of precaution, turned out the lights, depriving the asthmatics of their oxygen and kidney patients of their dialysis. It is an incendiary year when my hubby and I attend a wedding high up in the Sierras. The sun burns our shoulders, wind under the huppah. The wind nearly sweeps the bride and groom away, the glass overturned, then righted before it is broken. In the valley below, Clint Eastwood holsters his Colt in a boy's perfect world. He is still unforgiven. He ignites aboard Housewife somewhere across the bridges of Madison County, rides his horse to the Republican National Convention. And yes, Clint has a heart-to-heart with an empty chair, offers up its ontology. 4 years later, the fires flare up again. Environment, scorched. Justice, blinded. Commerce, fevered. Labor, fired. Education, expelled. Home security, iced. Our politicians spin through the rotunda, jackhammer the statues of the founding fathers, howl with laughter as they slide through the fragments, invite the Proud Boys to barbecue, spin and thrill, loop the loop, better watch your back. Columbine, Uvalde, Mother Emanuel. Salvos from the politicians don't stop the bullets. The paparazzi snipe, but often miss the mark. And this next one is a persona poem. It's called False News, as in what we are getting exposed to a lot of. False news. I am nomad, migrant through neuron and synapse, octopod in a phosphorescent sea, island blast dissolving the spaces from here to the opposite shore. I am molecules released into red sky. In my hands, 4 compass points bleeding towards chaos. The refusal of why, like a comet cutting long streaks of fire into the sky. I am flux, river in full flood, metastasis of facts into fear, into bluff, into cough of spiraling syntax. I am oculus, bearing witness to the force of splintered parts, artery of outrage, hardened into quartz. I reweave the cries of crows. I amplify the clatter, cutting long streaks of fire into the sky. Okay, this is a change of tone. This poem was published in this book, Nasty Women Poets, back in 2017, not long after You Know Who was elected. And it's called Airport Security. Ancient Granny drags her bag, gasping, wheezing towards the gate. Security will let her wear her shoes. She throttles and snorts, flings her purple pocketbook onto the belt, slings her steel-plated bangle beads into the bin. From her carry-on, she pulls out a can of Lysol spray, her Chinese star and brass knuckles, her newly sharpened meat cleaver. She reaches into her cleavage, gasps, extracts an ice pick. The TSA officers are trying to speak. She isn't finished yet. She drops her winter coat and furry ski vest into the bin, unbuckles her color-coordinated crocodile leather belt. Behind her, a crowd is building up. The TSA is sending for reinforcements. She pulls off her turtleneck. The sleeves gesture skyward. She drops her purple skirt to the floor, pirouettes in her purple Playtex Ultimate Lift, and Bali One Smooth You Breathe. Yeehaw! She flips the Chinese star into the machinery. The crowd divides into pros and cons. When she picks up the meat cleaver, they scatter. She offers the agents a swig from her 3-ounce bottle of Smirnoffs. On the other side of the metal detector, a TSA 20-something is staring at her large brass navel ring. The alarm bleats. She rasps, "Pat me down, Sonny, pat me down." Let me see. I had cut a lot of poems because I was expecting more people. So let me see what I have here. My mother-in-law died last year, and this is actually, well, I was asked to write a praise poem, but one of the reasons I wrote the poem was because of what I saw her do. Kitchen gadgets. Praise the kitchen where the gadgets wait in mute competition, where I stand looking out the window over white peace lily blooms and snake plant spikes, where out of the corner of my eye I catch the philodendron stretching yet another tentacle through the open porch window, green against the yellow of my kitchen wall, already dotted with faint tracks of prior invading shoots. Praise its tenacity. Praise the neighbors' houses, distant white behind black November tree trunks, his flying flag, their blue front door, their stories I imagine while the blender growls a bellyful of Dominican sazon. Praise the sharpened paring knife that chopped green pepper, diced garlic and onion, cut cilantro. Praise my kitchen shears, broken handles wrapped in black electric tape. Bags of almonds and crimson seedless grapes clamor to be opened. Boiled eggs agitate the waters in the cooking pot, must soon submit to the grip of the egg slicer hiding under the measuring cups. Praise its razor wires. Praise my mother's flour sifter, gift that spreads her love of cakes and pies. Praise the cookies it makes for children who stop by. Praise my mother-in-law, master chef of rice and beans and pollo guisado, who in the last week before she died, called to her side her nieces and grandnieces and gave all her kitchen gadgets away. I don't know, my timer is not working. How long have I been going here? Oh yeah,
I don't know.
okay.
I haven't been keeping track, but I think we have time.
Yeah, I have a little more time.
Sure.
Okay, let me see here. Okay, this is an experience I had in Puerto Rico, and it was the hurricanes I mentioned here are Jose and Maria. I found out later that it was actually Irma and Maria that destroyed Puerto Rico. But anyway, we're leaving it at Jose and Maria. The fear came later. I was already in my 7th decade when we climbed an 8-foot fence to enter a protected section of El Yunque National Forest. It was before Jose and Maria passed over Puerto Rico, failing to spare anyone, stripping the mountainsides down to their souls. Our guide was a local hotel recommended. I wore my bathing suit, hiking pants with secret zipper pocket, insect repellent mountain shirt, sneakers. In our pictures, I am hatless. He led us to the trailhead, his compact frame slipping easily past the no trespassing sign and over the chained gate. As I sought toeholds in the wire fence, I wondered how he had overlooked my age and bulk. On the way in, the sun was blazing, but we didn't feel it under the canopy. Didn't notice how underfoot there was no real trail, just the old mine road covered in moss and the sheddings of trees, outer edge marked by the ruins of the aqueduct, most places wide enough for only one person to pass. Promised a short forest tour, we stopped first at a narrow run where droplets popped into the air as water hit the boulders, then settled in a large pool. We could have jumped in for a swim, except we wanted badly to be on our way. From a gap, we saw the curve of the coast, east towards Playa Escondida. To our right, a drop of 1,000 feet, and to our left, the mountain rising 1,000 feet, and on until we reached the empty bones of a building, a ghost wrapped in lianas, roof punched through by tabanuco trees and giant ferns, where we halted and stared. Our guide nudged us farther and farther into the forest until we reached a clearing, another river, another chance to swim. 5 miles in, it began to rain, drops like bullets penetrating the thick growth above us. No time to think about being afraid. What I thought as the rain came down was that 5 miles in meant 5 miles out. Our path over the rocks and the curve of the pipe, the fallen leaves slippery beneath our feet, the valley 1,000 feet below. Okay, thank you. That's it.
Okay, this is my first one here is called Life and Breath, and this one was just got published online for Poetry X Hunger. If you ever get on there, you can see that I got a couple poems with my a video of my poem on there, and it's about trying to get rid of the hunger in the world and that. So this is the one poem I got in there called Life and Breath. On blessed street, bare feet, a fleshless shadow on the alleyway wall, deprived, degraded, benumbed, inward emptiness longing for a bite. Even just a crumb would be enough. On blessed streets, bare feet, expressless skin and bones, weakness endure alone, straight pain, depleted veins. On blessed street, bare feet, life and breath under born worth. Cry, snuff, closes the eyes, wanting to feel alive in a time to survive. So that's one here. The next one I had, this one's called Tea in a Cup. Tea in a cup with a friend checking up. Tea in a cup to a time to suck it up. Tea in a cup to stop the hiccups. Tea in a cup, it can be spiked, yes. Tea in a cup, too hot to put the handle over to cover up. Tea in a cup, not good as an eye cup. Tea in a cup, messes up the makeup. Tea in a cup, you can read the leaves close up. Tea in a cup is better than going to the dentist for a checkup. Tea in a cup, like cuddling from a pup. Tea in a cup, cure all for all the screw-ups. Tea in a cup, as always, refill for backup. And this next one here I got, it's a really short one, this one here. It's called The Cat. My cuddly cat, silly and fat, also a dingbat. Friendly besides that, for there's more, a spoiled brat laying on the floor mat, trying to get it to scat. It just roll over on its back and lay flat, waiting for a belly scratch. This next one here, what I did written this one here is I was with a group there and they said to come up with the prompt was to get a fable or something like that, an old saying, and just change it on to a different style to what you want to hear, what this fable's all about, or something like that. So that's the one that's called The Hill. Jack and Jill went up the hill with a pail in hand to check the still. There too to find out if the new brine will be just fine. Jack tests the moonshine. It's a 9. It's so refined. This will make up for our bottom line for our customers down the coastline. Jack tests the shine furthermore and furthermore. Jill shouted out, stop at 4. Remember what happened before. And you won't be able to bottle the score. We can't get, you got to get down the hill so we can get the orders filled. So Jack and Jill went down the hill with the pail in hand, full from the still. Jack was so drunk, stumbled and spilled the pail of shine and broke his crown. Jill has a fit. There goes our profit, you half-wit. Why do you drink until you get saturated? You should drink only moderate. No, we're going to lose the market. Here's another little short one I got here. It's called Jeans. My jeans, lackluster, worn, torn. The blue washed out of the blue jeans. But it's fashion for the young. This next one here, I just got published here in Australia. A magazine here is called 10 Years Ago. Because this is most about all these old towns and that are kind of disappearing now and all that. So even the old railroad trains don't stop at the railroad stations anymore. So this is what's called 10 Years Ago. Train stranded 10 years ago at the station. At the station, cracked windows, curtains half closed. Unpunched tickets lay on the shelf. An old English hat dangling on the hat rack. Footprints eroded the ragged, wooden, dusty platform. In the corner, a jagged bench is where yesteryear's stories being told. Suitcases astray, baggage cart deprived, wind-blown papers scattered in the corners. The single light on a tall, long stand staring down the track. The green light burnt out, but still waiting for the thundering, rumbling echoes of the track. The old cablegram, asleep on the down lines. A letterman's bike, frayed flat tires decaying in a ditch. Across the way, sunset over the boarded up houses. Rigid wooden sidewalks sagging in the tall grass. Streets weathered and moss grown. But a gray old horse grazing in a patchy, empty field. Old schoolyard, voiceless. Playgrounds eroded. Swings too rusty to wave in the wind. The church left behind, holding the green gunny sacks. Wooden crosses rest on the hillside. Abandoned flowers bone and dry. The west just rooted out. The evening settled in the even settled the road in the pocket. There too and here on too. So that's what I say about all this old railroad stations are all abandoned and everything else, and all those old grain elevators are just gone now because it's this progress that goes on. Okay, this next one here, I just finished writing this a little while ago. It's called Tap. Crawling into bed on a cold, windy night. Nobody in the house, not even a mouse. It's going to be a quiet night. Time to turn out the lights and sleep tight. A tap on the window. Then again, what's with that? A tap on the window. Is my friends pulling a crank on me? A tap on the window. Are they trying to scare me because they know I'm alone? A tap on the window. It's not going to work. Thinking it's a ghost. A tap on the window. Go away, buckos. A tap on the window. I don't think it's not them. A tap on the window. Could it be somebody trying to break in? A tap on the window. Should I hide underneath the covers? A tap on the window. Maybe I should hide underneath the bed. A tap on the window. I left my phone downstairs, so I can't phone the police. A tap on the window. Go away. I'm in here with a baseball bat. A tap on the window. Maybe I'll turn on the lights and pull the cards back real fast. A tap on the window. I'm surprised. I'll surprise them. They'll take off. A tap on the window. Nobody's there. My heart's stopped thrashing. A tap on the window. Oh, it's just a branch in the wind tapping on the window. A tap on the window. What a relief. A tap on the window. I can turn out the lights and go back to sleep. A tap on the window. Why was I thinking those crazy things? A tap on the window. I'll cover up and have a good night's sleep. A tap on the window. A tap on the window. A tap on the window. Oh my God, the window is starting to slowly open up. And that was it for that one. Gotta leave it off in the everybody else can figure out what's really going on. Here's my other one. It's called Night Crossing. Many footsteps walk the line, winding their way through the labyrinth. Some fall from grace between the line, seeking the snaky pathway to the night crossing. The night crossing is where the cold wind blows above the gatekeeper's head. He's the man with aged moons in his eyes and hands with many fabrications, clothy with words, delivering them to add another guess to the ace. Wait with crimson on the vein upon the scrolls. Then one may cross, or look the other way and flee if one may, back to the labyrinth and walk the line with the footsteps of many. Okay, here's another one I just had written here a little lately here. It's called Ghost. In the playground, unseen. In the house, unheard. In the street, unknown. Isolated. A ghost. Sitting on a big empty bench by oneself, looking out, glossed over. Not even a blink from any other eye. The cold shouldered don't fit in. A ghost. Empty shoes on the mat, hand under the chin. Unspoken. Behind a shadow, eyes closed, head turned, sheltered. A ghost. To the nethermost, secluded, subdued, snuffed. Not even to, just to one's life, as many far between. Exiled, a ghost. I think I'll leave this one last one here to go here. I got this published on the radio. I read this on the radio a few times down east here in Canada here. It's called A Hero. If everybody was a hero, tiptoe in the shadows, without an ego, standing proud and tall in the crowd. If everybody was a hero, towering willpower of the hour, being aware, just being there. If everybody was a hero, deep-hearted, bold role, a soul mate, avowed and endowed. If everybody was a hero, true, foregoing, soulful backbone, a thoughtful shine, watchful mind. If everybody was a hero, live to an oath, to come to the forth, give the time when they need. If everybody was a hero, if this could be a status quo, if this could grow, if this could always glow, if this always could be just echoes, it would be a better place to be. And that was my last one there. I said, like that one there, just like I said, always to be there for somebody. Doesn't matter if it's your parents, you don't have to be a superhero pulling somebody in the car, but just being there for a friend or a family member. And like I say, being there for your parents and your parents being there for you. That's what the big thing is, just being there. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Guy. Thank you. Bring it out.
This is Bones in the Shallows. It's my newest book. And it's the first book that you've seen. The first poetry collection you've seen is centered around climate change. And I've been saying that a while and nobody's disputed it. And I'm sure there's one somewhere, but I sure haven't seen it. So, first poem in the book is, oh, by the way, thinking it's Enrique's 40 Acres of Walla Wallas. And that what reminded me of this collection of people we have here tonight. Leopoldo, thank you, is Transcontinental North American Symposium. I mean, put that on your resume. Okay, so Enrique's 40 Acres of Walla Wallas. How could a poor man stand such times and live? Blind Alfred Reed said that in 1929. The sweet and sour smell. Onions, my favorites. Walla Walla sweets. They roast before rotting in hot July dirt and sun for too many weeks. Onions sweat in 120 degrees. Water beads on their bulbs. Evaporates. Leaves shrivel. Pale blisters bake in record heat beneath papery skins. wrapped beneath mushy white meat. Enrique plows them under again and again until soil and dead onions merge. The seed pods, too, they died, killed next year's crop, kicked hope in the butt. Crop insurance, too high to buy. Won't compense this mess. Leaves losses to eat next spring when Walla Walla heats. So that was that one. One more from this book. It's called The Okanagan Wenatchee National Fire. Starts with a quotation from Frank Rogers, Okanagan County Sheriff, speaking on CNN. It was a hellstorm up there. Our summer highway landscape smells like a dirty fireplace. Fried tractor tires, smoking cowhides. It spreads charred black mile upon mile. Barns, fences, sheds, and double wides, where lightning struck the fat wood. Trees, grass, brush, dried by drought, brown needles and leaves, split gray fence posts, and paintless pens and sheds. Once rust brown by countless summer suns, now sooty shadows of cattlemen's dreams. Across the Inland Empire, Upper Falls, Carlton, Carpenter Road, Tunk Block, Colquhoun Tarps, Wolverine, Stick Pin, Cougar Creek, Highway 8, Graves Mountain, Saddle Lakes, Twist River, Graves Mountain, where ranches and livestock used to be. Innocents, deer, elk, and bear. Helpless, goats, llamas, chickens. Trapped. 3 men, ages 31, 26, and 20. So that's that. Do I have any more time?
Well, you could do one more. I'm going to just do one, and then I think we're going to wrap it up. Go ahead, Tito.
Okay. This is my other new book. This is called When the Mekong Ran Red. And it's recollections of the Vietnam War. And I'll just read this one short poem. Quick-tongued house geckos catch crickets in the corners, get fat off mosquitoes. They crawl the walls and ceaselessly watch drunken men wearing saurian green. A chunky man in combat boots, the Corps of Engineers captain, stands on a table, grabs 3 inches of rough reptile and swallows it whole, washes it down with Foster's beer. And the room erupts. Military lizard men howl, whoop, and bay. Oh shit! I'm an inmate in the asylum called war. All right.
Thank you, Tito. Spotlight. And actually, this poem, I remember when I wrote it, one of my daughters said, "Oh, that's like poem that I read sometimes in the New Yorker. You've got to send that in." I don't ever send stuff in, but I did. And it's been over a year and I'm still waiting for a rejection letter. And I love rejection letters. You know, I just don't get them because I don't send them in. You'd think I get at least one rejection letter, because a lot of really interesting writers that I've read, they kind of treat those initial rejection letters with a lot of pride. I'd like to have one that I can frame and put up. Anyway, this is the poem. It's called Me and Ted. Me and Ted were born one day apart. Ted in Chicago, Evergreen Park to be precise. Me one day later in New York City, Greenwich Village to be precise. Ted went on to kill 3 people and injure 23 with his homemade bombs, and eventually went to prison for 27 years. I spent 3 separate overnights in jail for open bottle of beer in a car, accidentally removing part of a hotel sign, having no bond money to guarantee showing up for a custody hearing. To my knowledge, no one was injured or killed. Ted lived alone. His last place, a remote cabin in Montana, as a recluse, honing his survival skills. After 3 marriages and 3 divorces, I married again and have lived with my wife for the past 39 years, 10 of them in a 4-generational family. They say Ted had an IQ of 167 and was a mathematical genius. I've been told my IQ was somewhat above average, and I've always liked math, and I'm good with numbers. Ted wrote a 35,000-word essay / manifesto entitled Industrial Society and Its Future, which was published in the New York Times. I write poetry and occasionally read them to my family and at poetry readings. A zither was found in Ted's cabin among his guns and pipe bombs. Perhaps he played it late at night. I used to play 4-handed Beethoven symphonies with my mother on the piano with great gusto and little concern for accuracy. Ted died today in prison. Right-wingers still quote from his manifesto. I am still alive, although I'm not aware of anyone quoting me. We both were concerned about environmental damage from the industrial complex. We both tried living more simply in tune with nature. We both were warm-blooded animals and frequent air breathers. We both had high hopes.
Awesome.